Welcome. So tonight's session will get started in a few minutes here. I was just testing to see if this was on, to see if you can hear me. I hope that you can hear me. It seems like you should be able to. So thank you for joining me tonight. If you had a chance to see the Twitter feed, you saw which poses we'll be doing tonight. So those poses are, we're going to start in easy seat. We're going to do some alternate nostril breathing. So make sure you have your hand sanitizer handy. All right, and maybe some tissues too, because you might, go nasally all over yourself. All right. Then we'll do some neck stretches. We'll go ahead and do an arm stretch as well behind the head. We'll do tabletop, cat-cow, ragdoll. We'll go into a malasana squat, and then we'll do gormukhasana, which is cow face pose. And then we'll do figure four, happy baby, and then we'll do our supine twists left and right, and then we'll go into savasana. And then I've got a poem or two to end on savasana. So again, just welcome and thank you for being here tonight. And we'll get started in about another minute or two. If you're at home, grab your hand sanitizer, grab some water. If you made some tea because it's evening time and you're ready, you're watching this before you go to bed, go ahead and grab your tea. And then we'll just sit here and wait and breathe. So. So the past few weeks I've been watching in the mornings Jill Fronsdale. I'm not entirely sure how to say his name, and so I apologize because I'm sure I'm butchering it. From the Insight Meditation Center, I believe. But he has a YouTube channel as well, and he does a lot of meditation and Dharma talks every morning on that channel. And I've noticed that he also kind of starts with sort of like early, and then he just sort of waits for a few minutes before going into the meditation and breathing exercises. So if you're looking for other self-care options, the meditation teachers that I've followed over the years have all kind of moved to YouTube now, which is really nice in the time of COVID to be able to have access to that stuff. And before it was a little more difficult to be able to find it, so it's just, it's kind of nice in that regard. All right, so let's see here. All right, my clock just turned 7 o'clock, so it's 7 o'clock here in Lubbock, Texas. So as you can see, I moved in and started at Texas Tech on July 15th. So I'm the STEM librarian there. I welcome you tonight to tonight's yoga session. My name is Erin Burns. I am a registered yoga instructor as well. So thank you for being here tonight and indulging me in my self-care, I noticed that I needed to do more of these sessions to keep myself responsible when it comes to doing yoga. But I also want to turn this into like a research project as well. And that's further along down the road, like another month or two. I'm going to figure out some things. But again, just thank you guys for being here with me tonight. So we'll go ahead and get started. So we're starting easy seat. I'm going to start with alternate nostril breathing. So if you're not familiar with that, go ahead and take your thumb and your forefinger, and we're going to alternate on either side of our noses. Now, I'm going to demonstrate, and I'm also probably going to screw it up. But you inhale, and then you exhale that same side. Inhale. Switch at the top, exhale, out the other side, right? So I did screw it up there at the beginning, so let me try that again. We're going to inhale, and then switch sides at the top, exhale, and then inhale on that same side. So we'll just switch back and forth. This alternate nostril breathing has been shown in different studies to kind of start to relax that limbic system, right? So we're not so focused on the stress, and it sort of brings everything down a level. So, if you're feeling super stressed out, just do a minute or two of this, and you'll feel a little better. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my timer on, and we're going to do that for about 3 minutes, okay? I'm going to do alternate nostril breathing, 3 minutes. Oh, come on. No, I don't want to start. There we go. All right, so remember, inhale, switch at the top, exhale on the other side, and then inhale on that same side, all right? So inhale, exhale, inhale again, and then switch at the top, exhale, all right? Now, if you start to feel a little lightheaded, you may be going a little too fast. So try and slow down the breath and slow down how fast you're doing it. So maybe instead of doing 5, like you count to 5, inhale, exhale, and count 5, you go ahead and try and do that to a count of 7. Now I can't do that because my nose is kind of stuffy, but we have about another minute of this, so we're just going to keep on going. All right, so do inhale. Exhale, switch sides. There we go. Okay. All right, last one. Exhale. Here we go. All right, let's take a couple breaths just normally. Inhale with both nostrils, exhale. Go lion. And do it again. Inhale. Exhale. All right, there we go. Maybe move your shoulders back and forth a little bit. Roll them a few times. All right, so now we're going to go into our next stretch. So when I was doing this earlier, I kind of did a side stretch, and then I went into a neck stretch. So we're going to kind of do that. So go ahead, bring your arms up overhead. Right? And remember, you're still in an easy seat. So even if you're in a chair, you might be able to do this. Reach one hand down beside you. Reach the other hand up overhead. And maybe twist a little and turn your head up towards that hand. Okay. So tonight's point is to really mindful of the breath. So go ahead and bring that arm down. And while you're still kind of in this C shape, right? So you're still kind of leaning off to the side a little bit. Maybe you also stretch out that arm so you can feel it in your neck as well. So I can feel that about here. So that's about a 45-degree angle. If you want a deeper stretch, you can pick up your opposite hand, put it towards the neck, and pull your ear towards your shoulder, right? But not too much, right? This is a very, very gentle neck stretch. Okay. Finding some stillness, finding some breath. Which can be really difficult right now, right? A lot of us are going through a lot of different stuff, a lot of difficult things. It's very stressful. All right, go ahead, come on back up. Put both hands down, roll those shoulders. All right, second side, bring your arms up overhead. Okay. Side stretched, I'm going off to my left, you may be going off to your right. Okay, so side stretch. I'm stretching my right side. I put my left arm down, stretching my right side. Twist head up towards your hand, right? Kind of open up the chest a little bit while we're on the floor. And a couple nice deep breaths here, right? In through the nose, out through the mouth. That can be difficult for some of us. I have allergies real bad, so that's why you could hear me alternate nostril breathing. You might not be as loud as me. All right. Now, go ahead, bring that arm down, maybe to about a 45-degree angle next to you. Right? Make sure your ear is by your shoulder. Right? And then you can bring that arm up to your head. Maybe pull slightly so you can feel the stretch going from your hand through your arm, through your neck. Breathe here. Head, come back to center, release that head. Maybe move it side to side. Your shoulders a good roll back and forth a few times too again. All right, we're doing arm stretch behind the neck. So basically what you're gonna do, you're gonna bring your arm up overhead and then bend the elbow so that you have one arm behind you and the other hand is grabbing that elbow just to stretch out your neck and your back. We're not going to hold this for very long, maybe a breath or two, so go ahead and breathe in And exhale. And then we'll go ahead and do it on the other side. All right. I'm taking a brief staff pose here. You do not have to do this. I just needed to do that real quick before we go into tabletop. So go ahead and go into tabletop, and we're going to do a quick cat-cow. This always helps to release some of the tension in the back, low back, and the top of the back. Now, for me, my back doesn't bend as much as in cat as it does in cow, but you probably different than me, right? Yoga is for every body, and my body is very different than your body, right? So, tabletop, shoulder over wrist, knees under hips, and let me see, there we go. All right, that's slightly better. All right, so exhale. It's a cow. No, exhale into cat. Inhale into cow, right? So you're bending forward, not really bending forward, but moving your spine back and forth on the inhales and the exhales, right? So exhale for cow, inhale for cat. Now, I did that backwards again, okay? All right, come on. Inhale, exhale for cat. Inhale for cow, exhale for cat. Move through this at your own pace. Right, really stretching through the front on your cows and through your back on your exhales for your cat. All right. So I'm going to come into a brief child's pose. You can join me here for a second or two. And I'm just going to kind of move a little bit back and forth here as well. Right? I can really feel some muscles on my right side body. And I'm just trying to loosen them up a little bit because things got a little tighter after I did my exercises this morning. All right. We've done that. Let's come into our forward fold. So if you're on your mat tonight, you can come up to the top of your mat. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me in the camera. All right. But basically, right forward fold, your feet together, arms up overhead, and then fold forward at the hips, right? So we're going to really just sort of bring your arms down with you. And then come into a halfway up, so hands on your shins, back is halfway up, parallel to the floor. And then exhale back down. Now this is where you can do what I like to call yogi's choice. If you really like ragdoll, go ahead and move your feet out to they're about hip width distance apart. So I'll turn back to the front here. Hip width distance apart for you. All right, so you can either do ragdoll or you can come into gorilla pose. I'm going to do ragdoll tonight because I have a tendency to go into gorilla a lot. So we're just going to do this. So ragdoll, grab opposite arm with opposite hand, or opposite elbow with opposite hand, and then just sort of hang here with your head in between your arms. All right. If you want to and it feels good, right, go ahead and maybe bend your legs a little. They don't have to be completely straight. You don't want to necessarily lock them out in this pose because this is more of a stretch for your hamstrings, but it's also a stretch in your back and your shoulders. All right. What's also nice about ragdoll is that you can swing back and forth in it. So go ahead and give yourself a couple swings here, a couple good breaths while we loosen up some of the stuff that we're kind of going through, right? Right, couple deep breaths here. Really just opening up. Oh. And letting gravity do the work. I think that's what I like most about yoga sometimes is it's more about gravity doing some of the work than me. So just sort of hang here for a while. Good deep breath. Nice long exhales. And go ahead and release your hands to the floor and then come on up slowly. Ooh, vertebrae by vertebrae. Don't come up too fast or you might fall over, right? You might get dizzy. All right. So we're going to go ahead and go back to the floor. We're going to do Malasana squat. So when you come into your squat, have your feet maybe a lot wider than hip width distance apart. Maybe you come into a plie squat first and then come on down. I know a lot of people think that there are a couple different ways to do a Malasana squat. Some people feel more comfortable being up on their tiptoes, or others are more comfortable their whole foot down. If you're not used to it, that whole foot down can feel like a different stretch. Like for me, that's a very different stretch than being up on my tiptoes a little bit more with my hips, splayed out wide, right? Bring your elbows to your knees, right? That'll help stabilize you, all right? Hands in prayer position, hips, or into your feet. So sometimes if you're in a different kind of yoga class, trying a flow type yoga class, sometimes they'll have you kind of rock back and forth a little bit. If that feels good for you, go ahead and do that a couple times. If you have back, I don't recommend doing that. Maybe but it can help give some stretch out. So you notice that as I was talking, I was kind of hunching forward a little bit more. Let's try and see if you don't be like me. Don't do that. Come on up. Make sure your head is pointed towards the ceiling. A little bit more. All right. And I know that this can get uncomfortable for a lot of people after a few minutes, and it really does for me. So we're going to come on back and we're going to come out of it slowly. We're going to a forward fold. Hands on the floor for stabilization. Push those knees up and back. Hands come to your feet. Maybe bring them up slowly along the body. Just to remind yourself you're in your body. As we come up, vertebrae by vertebrae, head comes up last. Ooh, and maybe we'll shake that one out a little bit. I think it's a lot more difficult to do on carpet as well as opposed to like trying to do it on a hardwood floor. Okay, what do we got next? Gormukasana. So we're going to go back to the floor. All right. Ooh, all the way down this time. You don't have to think too hard. All right. So we're going to do another, it's going to feel like a hip, I don't say hip opener, but it's going to kind of feel like one. So we're going to do a side stretch with that, and we're also going to do a fold with it. So for Gormukasana, basically your knees are going to be stacked on top of each other. So bend, in this case, I'm bending my right knee first. So my right knee is on the floor. Come on up and then put your left knee on top. And then your feet may come in closer to the body than mine do, or they may, splay out like this a little bit more. That's okay. For this pose, I like my feet a little bit more closer to my body. It just feels more comfortable for me. All right, so to do a side stretch here, we're going to do opposite arm. So the knee that's on top. So my left knee is on top. I'm going to bring my right arm up overhead. Okay, so I'm going to bring both up overhead actually first. And then I'm going to lean off to the left. with my left leg on top. And my right arm is up in the sky, and I can twist and I can look at that. Right? And again, really trying to breathe deeply into the pose. And try and breathe for a little bit here. Finding some stillness. All right, if that stretch is too much for you, maybe you just look straight ahead, maybe you don't look up. All right, we'll go ahead and put that arm down. And come on back to center. All right, so we're going to inhale, bring both arms up overhead, and then exhale, fold forward. Right, so you may be a little bit hunched here. That's okay. If you have a pillow handy and you want to put that pillow right here on top of your knees, go right ahead. Mine are over there in the corner, so that's just kind of where they're going to stay right now. And then breathe here, and you can feel how the breath goes into a different place at the moment. And I don't know what that is or what happened there. You stay in that pose. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, okay. All right. My computer went a little funky and the check on it. All right, so right leg on bottom. We're still in our forward fold here. All right. Stretching forward. Feeling the breath in a different place than we did when we were in our side stretch. I know that some people may be able to fold all the way down. If you do that, you're going to start putting pressure on some of your lower limbs. And then that can, depending upon the kind of exercise you feel like doing, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. All right, let's come on out of that and come on back to center. Do the legs here. Maybe rock them back a little side to side so you can get some good stretch there. And then just sort of stretch that out a little bit. All right. Left leg down on bottom, right knee on top. All right, we're coming back into Gormukasana. Second side, and we're going to do our opposite side stretch. So in this case, I'm going to be stretching towards my right side with my right leg on top. My left arm is going to go up in the air. All right, so bring both arms up overhead on an inhale and then exhale, and we'll tip over to the right side. All right, and you can hold this pose. For a few breaths. Finding stillness if your computer doesn't go a little crazy. And maybe you're looking forward, maybe you're looking up at the top of your hand here. It's good stretch either way. All right, let's come back to center. Both arms down, both both arms in the center as well. All right, we'll go ahead and inhale both arms up overhead, and then exhale forward fold over top those legs again. And a couple good breaths here as well. Keeping shoulders down away from the ears. It's easy to get hunched up in this pose. Right, maybe relax those arms down. Keeping yourself from completely collapsing into the pose, but still getting some benefit. You'll be able to feel the stretch in your hip, possibly your knees. If you have bad knees, don't do this, or if it feels bad or weird, let's see if we can find something else for you to do. Alright, come on out slowly. Vertebrae by vertebrae. Come on up. Bring both legs back into center. And then we'll swing them back and forth a couple of times just to get those hips a good rub. Alright, done that. So we're going to go ahead and come into our supine position, so our floor position on our back. And so we're going to do figure four, happy baby, and then we're going to do a supine twist with both our legs on either side. Alright, so figure four. So basically, come on back and lay down, right? Lay down on your mat, bring one foot up over the other. So in this case, I've got my right ankle to my left knee. And then if you feel like it, go ahead and interlace your fingers back behind that left leg. And if you feel extra special, you can stretch that leg up. But since we are supposed to be kind of relaxing in this pose a little bit, I'm going to keep myself into a true figure four here and keep my leg in a more tabletop position so it's more parallel to the floor. And then breathe here. Right, look up at the ceiling. Relax your shoulders, your back, everything back into the mat. A couple of big breaths here. Calming the limbic system. Trying to get that cortisol to go away. Right? We don't need any more of that. We're all stressed out enough as it is, right? Alright, let's go ahead and put that leg down. We're going to switch to our second side here. Right, so in my case, that means my left leg, my left ankle is coming up to my right knee this time. And I'm going to pop that right leg up off the floor, keeping my leg parallel to the floor. If I can't, and it's just chilling here, that's okay. If you want to feel like a good stretch before bed and you want to raise that foot up in the air and do your figure four like this as well, you can. Right? Yogi's choice. I like this because I can really feel my back melt into the mat as I breathe without worrying about if I'm pulling on my hamstring too much. go ahead and put that foot down, the other foot down. Kind of shake that out for a moment. Maybe move our legs back side to side this way. And I can really feel my hips today as well. So this is a good stretch for them. And, all right. I think, yeah, happy baby is next. So it's always a good back stretch for me. And should be for everybody else as well. But basically, bring your knees into your chest. Grab your feet. Can, right? And then pop those feet up overhead. And then kind of go rock back and forth a few times with your feet up in the air. And just sort of breathe here as well. But this is more of a moving pose than a breathing pose. But it can be both, right? Maybe inhale and then exhale to center. Inhale on the other side. Right. To relax a little bit into the pose a little deeper. Sometimes I will twist my arms up around my feet like this instead, where my arm kind of goes around my ankles. But you can do that on the outside as well. And then just bring those knees in toward your armpits. But it feels good. All right. All right, two more. We're going to do twists and then savasana. So bring those knees back in towards your chest. Give yourself a hug. Rock side to side a couple times. That feels good, even after a happy baby. All right, and then I'm going to start with my legs off to the right. So I'm basically just moving both my knees off to the right. I've got my hand on top of my knees. All right, and I'm twisting towards the left. So my head is towards the left, my arm is towards the left. And that's towards the camera, towards you guys. I'm going to get up and switch so we can do the other side. We'll go ahead and stay in this pose for about a minute or two. I'll even put my timer on for this one, because sometimes I know that it can be a little confusing. Yeah, so we'll stay on this side for 2 minutes. We'll go to the other side for 2 minutes, and then we'll be in savasana. Just breathe. I'm starting to fall asleep in this pose. I am ready for bed. All right, go ahead, bring your legs back to center. And then we're going to switch to the other side. So go ahead and bring that left arm up. Bring those knees off to the left side. Twist towards the right. So I'm not going to be looking at you. I'm going to be looking at my lamp over here. All right, make sure that arm is straight out beside you. And breathe. Try not to close your eyes or you might fall asleep. Oh my. Alright, come on back to center. Stretch those legs out in front of you. Well, yeah, in front of you. You're laying down, so just stretch your legs out. Heels together, toes fall out to the side, hands down by your side. And but you stay in Savasana. Oh, okay. Go ahead and grab my glasses here. So, internet's full of poetry, and also full of yoga poems people like to read. I feel like this is one that I had noticed before, but I'll read it again tonight. And it's called The Peace of Wild Things by Wendell Berry. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and where the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars, waiting with their light. For a time I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free. I also feel like I need to acknowledge a couple other things, but maybe I'm not ready to speak on those things quite yet. So yeah, I'll keep those to myself for a moment. If you're still in Savasana, come on out slowly. Maybe you can roll onto your right side, push yourself up slowly and back into easy seat. And however you get there is how you get there. I can't see you, I can't judge you. However you come on up is how you get up. Alright. I want to thank you for being with me tonight. Thank you for practicing yoga with me. I hope that this was a good midweek break for you. I'm going to do one on Saturday. I think I'm going to try and do it on Bikram style yoga, which is something that I used to do a lot of, and I kind of miss. But yeah. So I just want to thank you tonight for joining me. Hands in prayer position. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. All right. Have a good evening, everybody. I hope that helped relax us a bit before bed tonight. Okay, take care.